to answer this question, I'll kind of bring it back to the metaphor that I gave earlier about two people who are speaking. One is speaking in English and one is speaking in French. And there's like some difficulty in the communication. But in this case, I want to make a twist to this metaphor. But let's say that I myself am speaking in 2021 and I'm speaking to someone who is speaking English from, let's say, the 1800s. And so we're both speaking English, but the person from the 1800s, they're just talking in a language and using terminology that I'm not as familiar with. There's some communication happening, but it's very difficult to really communicate because we're not really using the same vocabulary. There's just different contexts of the time. The same applies to SEO. Yes, your site can still rank if it's old, but because you might be using some language or some old technical things that used to be really effective, but nowadays they don't, you're not going to get as great results as if you were to have a fully updated website. And so general thing is that, an old website is just, it can rank, but is it the most optimal thing to do? If you do have the money, if you do have the time to rebuild a new website, I'd recommend that just to get you up to speed with things, and you'll get a lot better results than if you were just to keep your website, outdated. Because also, if you have an outdated website, it's going to impact your conversion. So just from a conversion, a traffic, and an SEO standpoint, I just really would recommend to build a new site, especially if your site is that old. Number two, can I have a Google My Business even if I have an old website? And the answer is yes. You can actually have a Google My Business and not even necessarily have a website. Google My Business is just something that it's a service that Google is providing to get your business listed. So you don't necessarily have to have a website. So yeah, whether it's an old website or not, you can have Google My Business, but still I recommend you have a newer site.